to our guest. But again, Jamie Wasserman, I think we're more in your ballpark on this. Here's the thing, just because you're in the Magic Kingdom, well, the real world can't be kept at bay entirely. As much as Disney might want you to think so, sometimes it makes its way into the park and we bring some of our demons with us.
Yeah, and given the crowds, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, because these are all kinds of people, as you mentioned, with all kinds of personality disorders. I mean, the more people you have, the more potential you have for personality disorders, aggression, and they're told to wait, which, as we know, humans don't do very well, and Americans probably do it worse than any culture.
Yeah.
So it's just a hotbed. It's also hot, by the way.
Ah, yes, and we know just from New York City crime statistics and most urban crime statistics, crime goes up in the hot weather. Joanna Greenwald, let me come over to you. I want to ask you about a couple references you've made to the defense, and we are going to talk to the defense attorney. It sounds as though you might have driven this defense in a different direction.
Yes, I have some ideas. Obviously, I don't know what was going on with the case. However, one, like I brought up earlier, I don't understand why there was not a cross-complaint. As a former prosecutor, that would have been natural for me to have. Additionally, I see that we have Ms. Walker, but where are my experts when we're dealing with injuries? The injuries are instrumental as to what this woman is being charged with. You have this woman who's charged with $50,000 bond, this woman who has generally no history, and from another state with her own parent as well as a grandchild that rely on her. So this is a major situation. And the thing, again, glaring. I don't see experts on his side. All I see is cross.
And you make a very good point. This is aggravated battery, and in order to sustain that charge, there have to be long-term and permanent injuries. It's a 15-year possible sentence, so it's no joke. This is not a petty assault case, and so you do want to defend it to the best of your ability. And we'll talk, of course, with the defense attorney in this case, David Allen, about his approach to the case and what on earth went on in this park. But in the meantime, let's hear more of what his client has to
it.
All right, a pretty good cross-examination here, but I have to say she's holding her own up there on the witness stand, this defendant, Victoria Walker. Let me bring my guests back into the conversation. Jamie, Joanna, we've got three J's here, three women on the show. I want to ask you, ladies, it really seems like a she said. I mean, somebody here is not telling the truth. Their version of events is so incredibly different. If you listen to both the Kraus, alleged victim Kraus, or this defendant, somebody's, I don't want to say it, lying. Joanna?
That's, I agree with you. Someone's not telling the truth. But what they both agree on is that they both were in a tussle. So that's why I think this case should have been reflected on that. And again, to go back, that both of them were in a tussle, therefore both of them have some guilt on both sides. And I know it's justification of self-defense for both of them, but both are admitting to touching each other.
Yeah, and we'll have David Allen on, and you can bet I'm going to ask him that question. Why weren't their charges leveled in the other direction? Jamie Wasserman, let me come to you on the it really comes down to the old, you know, things my kids say. He started it, she started it.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
This is, right? As a matter of law, that is very important.
That's exactly it. It's like when you first started. This is like the playground situation we all saw or were in when we were little kids. It's just like he did it, no, I did, you know, she did it. But the thing again, what does the principal do when both of you were in school and if you got into a tussle? No matter who started it, they bring both of you get some form of detention. And as I brought up again, someone didn't get any detention. Matter of fact, they said, why don't you go home? And matter of fact, I'd like you to think about suing Disney World.
You know what I'm thinking? When we were all kids, Jamie Wasserman was mediating, and you and I were taking sides. But
that's right.
No one was in the scuffle, not amongst the three of us. All right, it's great to have you on. You're going to stick around to the end of the hour. Right now, we do have to take a quick break. Don't go. That each of these women felt a little dissed, if you know the expression the kids use. Disrespected. Let me bring my guest into the conversation again. And so many of our cases, Joanna, often come down to this feeling that I've been disrespected. I need to make things right. In fact, we have programs in the schools, public and even some private schools, to teach kids to walk away, even if you feel disrespected. And it just feels at its heart, when I listen to Walker's testimony, that's kind of what's going on here.
You know, I have a 22-month-old, so my first reaction is, where's the timeout? Why did someone get sent to the corner over here, and you go over here?
You sit in that teacup. You sit in that teacup.
Yes, exactly. You're in this teacup. Don't you spin. And I want you to sit there, and this ride won't take off until we all can apologize to each other and act like big girls, as we should have.
Don't make me pull this ride over.
Don't you make me. Don't you make me. And you're going to the back of the line.
And Jamie Wasserman, I don't know if you've read that book by Al Roker. I think it's Don't Make Me Stop This Car. Yeah. Disney's motion for dismissal was granted. That's an example of a case handled in the civil courtroom. Is that where this case is heading? Let me bring my guests back into it, Joanna and Jamie. So, Joanna, this really is all about the civil litigation, isn't it? Disney's got a big, deep pocket.
There's 3 words. Well, 4 words. Show me the money.
Yeah.
This is what this case is about, because Krauss needs to have a conviction in this case in order to have her civil action. And even if they find her guilty, Walker guilty of the misdemeanor, by having a certificate of conviction and you move in your civil action to say, see, I did withstand these injuries. Yes, they did happen on your property. Then she has her civil issue. It's just the extent of her injuries. So magically, she's charged with aggravated, battery, where she has cognitive disability. She can't walk. Her back hurts. All from a teacup.
Yeah.
So
and subjective, the evaluations that her doctors presented. Well, obviously she has to present with those difficulties
for the rest of her life.
For the rest of her life. Jamie, I have to come over to you. I always remember the substance of Victoria Walker, the defendant in this case. You're going to see the result, what we call the verdict in a criminal case. I still can't believe it's a criminal case. On courtside in just a little bit. Let me bring my guests back into the conversation. Jamie and Joanna. My mother's Joanna, and then there's Jamie. This is somehow symbiotic. So, ladies, I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask you what you think should happen, but I'm not going to ask you what you think will happen. But I am going to ask you what you think should happen. And Joanna, I'll start with you as our attorney. What do you think the right result is here? Not predicting, but in your view as an expert in the law.
I think that had we been in New York, we have something called an ACD, which is an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal, which means it's a delayed dismissal, saying if both of you, if you get an ACD, if you stay out of trouble for 6 months, boom, it's dismissed. So I would have had cross complaints going on in this case, spoken with the prosecutor and said, you know that this is a ridiculous case. You know that they're both just got in a tussle and they're grown women. I've had a case I defended similarly to this and got it dismissed.
You did not have a case like this.
Wait a minute, not on the, the Mad Teacup ride, which actually I wanted to say, this case gives another name for the Mad Teacup.
That's right, that's right.
I would have had orders of protection for 6 months just saying, ladies, grow up, and obviously it means nothing since both of them are from different states, and this case would have been dismissed. Yeah. That's what should have happened, not wasted our taxpayers' time and money.
And hauling witnesses from all over the country, by the way, and you heard the defense attorney say, in that jurisdiction, cross-complaining is unusual, but I, too, would have done the same thing where I practiced in California. So, Jamie, from your point of view, I can join you. I was going to give that little tease, but you did it for me, Jack, and I look forward to it. So I'll see you in just a little bit at the end of courtside, and as you heard Jack say, we'll have that verdict for you. Jack and Ashley will in just a bit. But first, big thank you to our guests, Joanna Greenwald, Jamie Wasserman. Great fun to have you both on today, ladies. Hope to see you both again soon. And right now, I get the last word.